connections and it's really hitting the side of the tent. So I'm a little bit stressed, if I'm honest with you. Welcome back to my channel. And I know it's been a long time since I did anything, but you know, what can I say? Rest days from work have coincided with crap weather, etc. And plus I've been busy with other stuff and running. I've got into running again, so anyway, enough about that. I'm back and after a wild camp. So today I've just parked up at Dungeon Gill car park because I'm familiar with it and it's a safe place to leave the car. I'm not quite sure where I'm heading for definite, but I'm currently walking up the side of Stickle Gill, so I'm going to get up to Stickle Tarn and then I'm going to head up over to Pavey Ark or thereabouts, see what the crack is, so I can find. I'm not overly bothered about walking a million miles this time. Today was just about getting out and just enjoying some alone time, chilling with a brew. So who knows how long or short this video will be, but it won't be as good as my last Everest video, will it? But doesn't matter, getting out, and that's the main thing. But stunning weather. I mean, I'm glad I've come out because I mean, you've probably seen this view a million times when you've been out with me, but you know, the Langdale Valley is just stunning. But I've got all the way to go up there, so it's a good one, but it's a sharp burst of up, so it's pretty knackering. So anyway, enough talking, better preserve my breath. Good to be back, and I'll catch you in a bit. I don't know if you can hear me because it's blowing a right gale up here. So I've reached the top. I'm just looking for somewhere to camp, but it's so windy. I'm not sure I can be bothered. I don't know if you can hear me at all because it's blowing a right gale. I'm going to try and find somewhere sheltered. If I can get out of the wind, I will do. If not, I might drop down a little bit because, you know, of course my tent can take this kind of weather, but it's no fun, is it? Setting your tent up in this and sitting in it as it flaps about, and you can't sit out if it's windy, and it's pretty chilly now that the wind's come out. I've still got a t-shirt on, but I'm contemplating putting an next layer on. So I'll give you a 360 because it's quite a decent view, but yeah, very, very windy. Well, I didn't manage to find anywhere out of the wind on the tops, unfortunately, so I'm making my way a bit further down. I've got a couple of ideas in mind. I was contemplating going back to that place. If you've seen my video where I tarp camped round here, I was contemplating going back there, but I remembered it's quite a small area. It'd probably fit my tent on, but it might not. I mean, it wasn't great for pegging out, so if I can't peg my tent out properly there and it does get windy, then it's going to go over the ledge with me in it. So I decided against that. So yeah, so I've got a couple of ideas. Bit lower down, won't see a sunset I don't think, but should hopefully, weather permitting, see a sunrise. So I am disappointed because it's the second time I've headed for High Raise, which is where I was going. This is the High Raise in Ambleside, not the High Raise near High Street. It's the second time I've had to come down on the top because of the bad wind. Now I've been here loads, and it's never been this windy on the tops before. It only seems to be when I choose to go up High Raise. And I say the forecast wasn't for high winds, and it's not massively high. 780 feet, is it? Meters? What's it, feet? Feet, no. Yeah, feet. Oh. 700, it's been a long day. 780 feet I think it is. So it's not like crazy high, but yeah, you can still hear the wind is around a little bit, but it's dropped now that I'm kind of protected by Pavey Ark and the hills. So hopefully if I get down just a little bit lower, I'm not going to camp by the tarn because I'm not a big fan of tarn camping, and usually gets a bit crowded, doesn't it? But I have a few places just away from the town, up over the hill a little bit, which should be low enough down to stay out of this wind, but hopefully it'll be okay. I don't mind a bit of wind, like this isn't too bad down here now, but up there it's just no fun. You just don't get any sleep, which you don't get the best night's sleep anyway while camping. But when your tent's flapping all night and you can't sit out and have your brew and your tea because it's just blowing everywhere and it's freezing cold, it's just not very pleasant. And I'd rather my first one back be a half decent one, especially when it's been such glorious weather all week. But it's odds law that, you know, the sun's gone in now. Anyway, it's what it is. I'm not moaning because I'm just glad to be out, and once I get my tent up and have my brew, all will be right with the world again, won't it? So anyway, I'm waffling. Bet you missed the waffle, haven't you? 6 months of no waffle, you wonder what's going on? I'll bring you back shortly. See you in a bit. Well, I've had to drop a bit lower. I'm not a million miles away from the tarn. I'll give you a clue. So the tarn is there. I've just come up over the tops of the hill a little bit to get out of the way. And I'm a little bit out of eye shot really. But I'm just here. So as you can see, not a bad little view. Nice views of Windermere and the Langdale Valley. So I'm all set up. I think I'm on a relatively flat pitch for once, so I might actually be able to sleep properly in my tent tonight. But while I got here, I thought it's a bit chilly, and I've got my shorts on, so I'm going to put my, it's not really middle of winter pants on, but you know one of the pants I got in Nepal, in Namche, at the bazaar, my little, they're not down pants, they're, what's the other one, what's the other stuff? Primaloft, but the North Fake, the finest. But they are so comfy. It's like wearing a sleeping bag on your legs. They're just really, really warm, and they're quite windproof, to be fair. Can't feel the wind at all, and so I might not even need my sleeping bag tonight. I might just sleep in these. Anyway, that wind is telling me I need to get out of the wind into the shelter and make a brew. So I shall bring you back shortly. But thanks for enjoying my journey. Woohoo! I'm back out. Not sure that's a matter of scale I'm showing up. Hopefully, it's in any trouble. Very low. Out for that later on, see if I hear anything else. I've got to say, this wind is crazy. It's like when it stops, it just stops and it's deadly silent. There's nothing going on, and then you can hear it. It's almost like you can hear it approaching. It looks like it's coming over the hills. A bit, well, I can't really explain it, but you just hear it sort of building up, and all of a sudden it just hits the tent like that. But yeah, it's weird. It just goes, like when it stops, it's perfect, and it'd be a perfect camp. Like now, just nothing. And then you hear it coming over Pavey Ark and across the water, and it's just, you know, there's a few breezes like this, but like when it really hits, it's like a herd of horses. I hear it in the distance, and all of a sudden it goes boom, and it hits the tent, and like, God, it's horrible. So I'm suspecting I'll have very little sleep tonight, but don't often sleep really on a camp anyway, but I definitely don't when it's this windy. But can't have it always, and like I say, we're not in the height of summer just yet, so I'm hoping that when the weather gets really good, I'll be out again and hopefully not even need a tent like I did last time. So yeah, I'm contemplating getting my tea on now. The sun is kind of just disappearing behind Pavey Ark, and this wind is definitely bringing the temperature down. I've not set up my temperature gauge yet, I'm going to stick that on in a minute. But it did say the temperature tonight was, it said 8, but with the wind chill it'll feel like 2 degrees. So it's going to be a bloody cold one by the sounds of things. But I've got a good sleeping bag. I decided not to gamble on the summer quilt just yet, because because I thought it was going to be 2 degrees overnight, and that's just bloody horrible. And I'd rather be too warm than too cold. So right, time to get tea on, I think. So, those of you who've watched my channel before will know tea time usually means one thing. something to eat, and my favourite flavour of all of them is macaroni cheese. Can't beat it. Really, really nice. I've put a bit too much water in it this time actually, so it's a little bit runny. But for a packet meal, you can't grumble at it. It's got plenty of calories, it's pretty nutritionally balanced, fills a gap, and I really like this one, to be fair. They're all quite nice. Some are a bit mushier than others, and they don't look appetising, but they all taste quite, quite nice, and they all fill a gap. But I'd say this one's one of my favourites, macaroni cheese. Now, I've just had a look at the forecast, and this wind is supposed to drop a little bit through the night. Well, that said, it's only supposed to be 20 kilometres, which is what, 12 miles an hour? Those gusts are certainly more than that. And it's definitely bringing it, I don't know if you can hear me, it's definitely bringing the temperature down significantly. My temperature gauge says 9.6 degrees, but I'm not sure that takes into account wind chill or not, who knows. So I've got my coat on, I'm not cold, and like I say, once I shut the doors and get in my sleeping bag I'll be absolutely fine, but it's kind of a bit on the cool side to just chilling, well, literally chilling. But plan for tomorrow, all depends on the weather. The forecast is supposed to be super clear in the morning, so hopefully it'll be a nice warm start to the day. But I wanted to go for a swim, or at least a dip, which is becoming a bit more of the norm, and now that I've got used to it. Just wanted to go for a bit of a dip tomorrow. So I've got two plans: either Warnyside Force waterfall or Black Moss Pot. Now, because I've come further down this way, Black Moss Pot was going to be nearer to where I was going to be camping, so it was going to be quicker. But now I've come back down, sort of further down from the top. I'm a bit further away from that. So they're both, one's about 3.2 miles, one's about 3.9. But strangely, the one that's further away is quicker to get to, because I think it must be all more downhill, where the other one is a bit more up and down. So I haven't decided which one I go to yet. I'm hoping it's nice and warm in the morning, because it's hard enough getting into cold water as it is when you get, when you're getting out into warm air. But if you're getting out into cold air like this in a breeze, it'll be horrendous. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, so I'm just gonna have my tea, and then I just like chilling and sitting and doing nothing, which I know some people can't do. I was talking to my mate at work the other day, and she said she struggles. I said, you should go camping, you'd love it. She said, what do you do? I'm like, just chill. It's just nice to chill with, like, play on your phone, just chill out with the view and just enjoy your own company. She's like, no, I always have to be doing something. Whereas I'm the opposite, I'm pretty lazy. So, speaking of lazy, no, this isn't speaking lazy, but, and I'm waffling again, but I saw on a forum the other day, they were talking about people going hiking to wild camps, and someone said, oh, I'm not one of these, wild campers that pretends they're a wild camper and only walks 2 miles to camp. I'm like, since when were you defined on your wild camping status on how far you walked? Sometimes I walk 5 or 6 miles, a bit longer. I know a few friends walk silly miles, like 20 miles. But for me, I enjoy the walking, but for me it's about getting to camp and chilling. So 2 miles, like I say, you can still get a fair way from, especially when you park somewhere in the Lake District, so you're already kind of in the middle of nowhere. Walking a mile or 2 miles and you can be miles away from anywhere. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but there's a lot of snobbery in, well, a lot of snobbery in all hobbies, isn't there? Music, wild camping, hiking, yeah, it's just snobbery and everything. Running, I'm a bit of a running snob, to be fair, which is, I'm not proud of it, but I am, can't help myself. But we're wild camping, I'm like, yeah, today I've only walked about 3 miles, but it was vertical, straight from Dungeongill right up to the top of Pavey Ark and back round again, so it was like hard going. And anybody who's walked up from Dungeongill to Sticklegill will know it's straight up and it's not an easy walk. So but again, does it matter if you walk? I know some people who park up at Ribblehead Viaduct and go camp on the spare land near the pub. Who cares? It's about getting out and enjoying yourself. You're not there to, well, some people it's all about the Instagram, innit? And don't get me wrong, love Instagram and I share plenty on Instagram, but for me it's just about getting out, finding somewhere I can dump my tent and just chilling, having a bit. It's just a posh picnic, innit? I just come out and I bring me sort of brew, bring some food, and I just sit and do nothing. But why not, eh?
Anyway, that was a right waffle, that wasn't it? I'm gonna have my tea and I'm gonna leave it to it. I might come back to you before bedtime.
And if you can just see in the background there, I might have to crop it and zoom in for you when I edit it. But that's Windermere, just in the background. So yeah. So the plan is to hopefully get a bit of a swim tomorrow in one of those locations. I haven't decided which one yet, and I've nothing planned tomorrow, so there's no reason why I can't spend a bit of time walking around. And if it is a nice day again, which it says to be, well, certainly lower in the valley, it's going to be super warm and super sunny. So yeah, with a bit of luck, it'll be a stonker. But I'm going to go back down to the tent now. But I've just gone and put a few more stones on the tent pegs because I didn't think it was going to be so windy, and the ground around here is kind of like fairly soft, so the pegs gone in really easy. But obviously when there's a lot of wind tugging at them, they move around quite easily. So I've put them in, and then I've put a few heavy rocks on them, so hopefully they won't move again. Not that they're moving massively, but you know, I was sat in the tent, I heard a bit of a twang, and I thought, what was that? I went out and one of the tent pegs had just kind of lifted forward, not come out of the ground, and it was still holding the guy rope in, but yeah, it just moved out a little bit. So I'll show you. Let's get back to the tent. Whew, a bit fell running, but yeah, it's still quite warm, to be fair. I would say it's about 8 degrees now, but as you can see, I've belt and braces. That one's got to do right, that big one there, reasonable one there. And these are the two ones that are going to take the brunt because the wind is coming from down here. So extra belt and braces there. I mean, it's not going anywhere, but it's certainly, see, I never know what wind speeds are because I've not got an anemometer. But people who say, oh, I was out in 50-mile-an-hour winds the other day, and I'm like, were you though? Were you really? Because like this is supposed to be about 12 to 15 miles an hour, and it feels a lot more than that. So I don't know.
Well, I'm about to head to bed now. It quieted down a bit earlier, but it now has decided to blow a gale again. So even with my earplugs in, I'm not sure I'll get much sleep, but is what it is. I've tightened all the guy ropes a bazillion times, rocks on them, so hopefully not going anywhere. And I don't think I'm on a slope, which I'll probably find out in the middle of the night I am. But anyway, I'm going to turn in, hopefully be getting up in a few hours to catch a clear sunrise. The forecast says it is going to be clear tomorrow morning, well, from about 4 in the morning, so fingers crossed. And if I don't sleep through my alarm, I shall get up and hopefully get some photos and a bit of footage. So anyway, that's enough for me tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. It's going to be a long night. Been out to check on the guy ropes. This wind is insane. I'll be honest with you, I've been in some fairly windy situations before. I've nothing like this. I've had to put some more rocks down on one of the guy ropes because it pulled it out of the ground. It's just, I'm taking a real side pummeling, unfortunately. The wind's changed directions and it's really hitting the side of the tent. So I'm a little bit stressed, if I'm honest with you. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep. And I feel I'm going to have to be checking the guy ropes every 5 seconds. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth packing down and going home. I really don't want to do that. But I'm like, well, it's not ideal, is it? But if this carries on, I just don't feel like, I know the tent can take it to a degree, but because the ground's so soft, it's not the tent I'm worried about, it's just the pegs being pulled out. When I put some rocks on and it's pulled the rocks out, I've just put a really big heavy rock on the main guy rope that's kind of holding this side behind me, because that's the one that's getting absolutely pummeled by the wind. It's absolutely mental. No way was this forecast. Like, say the max was 20 kilometers an hour winds, which is a green. It's not even amber or red. this is way worse than that. So I don't know, I might just sit out for a little bit and see what's happening, and hopefully it'll go away, but it's not looking likely. Anyway, I'll bring you back in a bit. Well, I didn't speak too soon, but it looks like it might have quietened down a little bit. As you can see, got 10 ton of rocks. This is the main guy rope because it's just pummeling this wall. And that close to, I don't know, it's just such a ball ache to pack up and go home. I'm not going to get any sleep if I stay in the tent, because I'm going to be stressing about it falling to bits or the guy rope's coming out and collapsing. But if I then pack up and go home and drive home, you know what I mean, it's like, that was a better option. Seems to be slightly better now, so let's just sit it out for a bit, see how we get on. But just coming down, pulling this side, like I said, got loads of rocks on that guy rope now. It's tight enough, and that seems to be holding alright, but just a stress, innit? I'm gonna sleep even less, so I think, let's see how we get on. I'm gonna sit tight for a bit. I just can't be asked to pack down, and it's like 11:30 at night now, and by the time I pack down, I'm about to kind of 2 in the morning, driven home another 2.5 hours. I might as well just wait out here, innit? Right, back in the tent. This is ridiculous. It's not how I intended my night to go. Oh dear. Right, bring it back in a bit when I've made decisions or gone to sleep or whatever. Good morning. Well, I have to say that is by far the worst night I've ever had in a tent in my entire life. I powered through and decided to stick it out. Excuse me, but bloody hell, it was awful. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I even set my alarm later so I could have a bit of extra time in bed. Still windy now, but not nearly as bad. But it went quiet, and then like picked up again, and then went quiet and picked up again. But it's still not gentle breeze today. It's still more windy than breezy. But honestly, I've never been so close to bailing in all my life. So I feel dreadful this morning. So, excuse me. I don't know what to do. I was planning on going for a bit of a walk and a swim, but I'm so tired. I don't know if I can face it. So it's about 6:15ish now. So I'm gonna maybe just have a brew and I'll think about it. So I don't know, I probably look dreadful. I feel dreadful. I'm amazed the tent's still here, to be honest with you. Anyway, right, I'll make a brew and I'll decide what we're gonna do. See you in a bit. Well, I've had a brew. I feel a little bit better now. I'm still knackered, but it'll probably catch up with me later more in the afternoon than now. As you can probably tell, it's still very windy, so I don't know if I'm going to go for a swim, but both places I want to go for a swim are quite a lot lower down, so it should in theory be a lot less windy. This is nothing compared to last night. Honestly, I can't tell you how bad it was. It's stuff of nightmares, honestly. I wouldn't mind if it would have been forecast, but the forecast was like about 10-mile-an-hour winds, and last night, if I had to guess, it had to be pushing 30. It literally felt like there was a football team outside just hammering footballs at the tent all night, and every so often there'd be an insane gust. You know, I'm not going to guess what speeds, but it was just horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Like I say, popped my tent pegs out a couple of times, but then I went out, as you saw, and put some bricks on, or put some rocks on, and settled it down a bit. Give me a bit more peace of mind. But honestly, it was so loud. It was literally like a train was just running over the tent all night. So anyway, enough of that. I'm gonna get packed down and look at these routes and see if it's worth going for a swim. It is pretty chilly this morning, if I'm honest with you. It looks sunny, but it is pretty cold. Right, onwards and upwards. See you in a bit. Right, I'm done, all packed up, and as always, leaving no trace shot. There you go. Nothing but flat grass.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for a swim, I think. Well, I'm going to go to head to where I'm planning to go for a swim, see how cold it is when I get there now, because I think it might be in the shade at this time of day, so it might be pretty chilly. So I'm making excuses already. I'm about to head to, I think it's called Warnyside Force Waterfall. I think that's where I'm heading. I've marked it on the map. It says about 2 hours 10 minutes. Most of it's downhill for the most part, so I reckon I can probably knock a bit off that. Not going to be rushing, but we'll see. So I'll bring you back in a bit. See you later. I'm about halfway down the easy part now. I'm already taking a layer off because the wind still there a bit, but it's literally a gentle breeze now, so it's much warmer. Which bodes well for a swim, doesn't it? Because there's not worse than getting out of the water when it's flipping freezing. It's bad enough when you get in the water that's cold water, but when you get out and it's cold as well, it's just, especially when you've got limited resources. If I go wild swimming, generally if I go somewhere near home, I've got one of those big dry robes, so you can get out and put one of those on, have a big flask of coffee, so it's not so bad. But when you're just coming back from a camp, you've got a piddly little towel, and you just got to put your clothes straight back on and get moving to get warm. It's you know, it's a bit more faffy. So yeah, I've got to make sure you get warm quickly. I mean, although that said, it is quite warm out. I'd say the air temperature is definitely much warmer than it was higher up, and I think the place I'm going is fairly in the valley, but I could be wrong. I don't think there's much climbing, but I guess we'll find out, won't we? So yeah, I'd have to say, for my first wild camp back for a long time, I won't say it's disappointing, because I'm never disappointed because I'm out, you know. Yeah, not disappointed, but just a little bit nagged because it takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it. I think last night was the first time I've ever been a little bit stressed in my tent. Let's just put it that way. But so yeah, I woke up this morning, still windy, but beautiful sunshine, so I think my watch says I got about 3 hours sleep. I don't know how I managed that. I mean, I was in bed from 10 o'clock, but I don't think I fell asleep till about 5 o'clock this morning, and then I was up at about 7, so no, 6:30, sorry, so a bit of a sleep in. I just thought I couldn't face getting up and cracking on so early to see the sunrise, because at that point it was still cold, it was still really, really windy, and I was just absolutely shattered. I thought, you know, it'd be no good to anybody, and I've got to drive home like 2 and a bit hours, so I don't want to be driving when I'm knackered. Anyway, here comes my waffle, so better shut up. First clue that I might be on the right track. Big ass waterfall over there. If you can see it, I might crop it. But that's where I'm heading. So I reckon I'm about 5 or 10 minutes away. So hopefully, won't be too cold. This is fucking freezing, but I'm still doing it. Oh god, this is wetsuit kind of cold, but I'm still doing it. I mean, it's stunning, absolutely stunning. Well, that was bloody cold, but like I say, I did it. I know I'm a big softie and I don't like the cold, So anytime I get into water, I know people do it left, right and centre, it's no big deal, but to me it's a big deal because I hate the cold. So that was freezing, but I forced myself to stay in and it wasn't too bad. I mean, well, I felt a bit better, but it was still flipping cold to the point of I was still shivering in there. So, but did it without a wetsuit, which is always the challenge. Yeah, all done. Got some pictures, hopefully got some decent video, and it's good for your sympathetic, is it sympathetic? Oh, I don't know, sympathetic nerve system, so it's all good. So that'll, and it's good for your immune system as well, so that's me not getting a cold for at least another couple of weeks. So, well, I got back to the car a lot quicker than I thought, to be fair. I was going to do a video on the way back. Before I knew it, I'd arrived at the car park, so I'm doing it in the car. So yeah, just want to reflect on this last camp. I was half-heartedly saying I wasn't sure if I'd enjoyed this one as much as normal, but to be fair, yeah, it's a small part. Last night, I mean, I don't sleep anywhere. I won't go into details. You've seen the video, you can see how stressed I was, but woke up, cup of coffee, contemplate whether I was going to go for a swim, nearly didn't. So glad I did, because I had a cracking time, really enjoyed it, and it's woken me up, and you know, like it's so cold, it just makes you feel alive, doesn't it? So I'm so glad I did, and yeah, the whole camp's been really good, apart from the fact that, you know, I need some longer pegs just all the time, apparently, because you just never know when the wind's going to be like a bastard, excuse my French. So I'll sign off now, but I might go get a butty or some breakfast somewhere, because Stickle Barn's closed at the moment for some reason, don't know why. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's been so long since the last one. If you haven't checked out my Everest videos, go check them out. They are awesome, even if I do say so myself. And I'll hopefully get out a lot quicker than the gap between the last video and this one. Hopefully next weekday rest set, I'll try and get out again. I don't like to go on weekends because everyone's too busy, but you never know, I might treat myself to a little cheeky Friday jaunt. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to stay safe, but not too safe. Don't like to stay too safe. No, what a crap sign off that was. I'm going to leave that in because it's stupid. Yeah, till next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.